Welcome to Shamperd. I'm Chesa, and here we discuss all things 3D printing. Today we have a couple of microphones on the workbench. I bought these for the video production work for the channel. If you've done any vlogging, or if you have your own YouTube channel, or if you looked into any wireless microphone option, you've probably seen this one on Amazon. They go for around $25 Canadian, or probably around 15 in the US, and they're sold by many different companies with different logos, but they probably all come from the same factory. I found the sound quality of these units to be adequate if they're placed close to the mouth of the person speaking, but even when they're clipped to the chest area, it's just not very good. It feels very tinny and the voice sounds very distant. So I designed this little clip that goes on the brim of my baseball cap, and I wear the cap when I'm recording videos. The sound quality has improved quite a bit with this modification, but I'm a big fan of this design where the microphone is attached to the collar that goes around your neck. But the downside of this unit is that it's wired as opposed to wireless. So I'm going to see if I can get this to work with the control board that's on the wireless one. Okay, let's do a quick examination of what we're working with. So right off the bat, I'm seeing a 2-pin 3.5mm audio jack, which is probably connected to the diaphragm over here. I don't believe there's any electronics in this housing, but I guess we'll see. And the housing itself, I don't really see any seam lines. So it's either fused at the factory, or maybe there's a screw underneath this protective foam. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And if we take this off, yep, that's the diaphragm. And wonder if, yeah, that came right off. Yeah, so it's just a pair of wires, positive and negative. I guess one thing we can do, I'm just brainstorming at this point, but we can hijack these contacts right here and attach the whole wireless unit right here. It would be a little bulky, but again, yeah, I'm just kind of spitballing. So let's continue with, I guess I'm gonna have to take this foam off to see what's underneath. And to do that, I'm gonna apply a little bit of heat to loosen up the adhesive and hopefully not damage the foam. Yeah, so the heat gun worked really well. I ended up taking this off without damaging it, but looking inside, there's no seam lines or anything like that. So unfortunately for us, we're probably going to have to break this housing to be able to access the wires inside. I guess we could cut the cable right here and do something externally. That would be another option. But we're probably going to have to damage the housing anyway to be able to attach this wireless unit. So I guess I'm not too bummed about that. Okay, so I've gone ahead and opened this up as well. And not much of a surprise. Just got a battery, USB port, a diaphragm, and a power button. Oh, and if you decide to do the same thing on your own, there are 4 tabs. One right here, and same places on the opposite sides. And just so you can see, here is the size difference between the 2 diaphragms. I actually don't know much about audio to be able to tell if this will work, if the amplifier requires more power or what. I guess we'll see. Okay, it took me about 5 minutes with a few pairs of pliers to set these free from the original housing. So this is a collar, which is just a metal wire with what I believe is a PVC sleeve on it, and the microphone. So what I'm going to do next is cut the wire right here and make a quick connection with the control board and see if we get any sound at all. Give me a sec, I'll do a quick test. Unfortunately, that didn't work. I definitely got some signals and it did sound like my voice, but the amplification was not right and there was a lot of noise. I'm sure there's a way to fix that issue, but it's just beyond my skill levels. So what I'll do instead is keep the board connected right here because we're going to have to build a new housing anyway, and swap out the big diaphragm with this tiny one. And here I've soldered a couple of wires just to give myself some leverage when I pull this out, because otherwise there's not really anywhere to grab to be able to yank on it. So I'll do that now. Oh, that was easy. Okay, that's good. One thing I'll have to test again for is if the resistance in the wire is going to have any negative impact on the sound quality. So yeah, let me go test that out and report back to you. Cool, so that worked pretty well. I didn't notice any degradation in audio quality. The longer cables don't seem to have any effect on the audio quality, at least not at this scale. So what I'm going to do next is to finish insulating the wires so they don't short out internally, and maybe super glue this piece on the inside of the enclosure so it doesn't rattle around. Okay, I want to give you a quick rundown of the design considerations that will go into making the new enclosure. The first thing obviously is the physical constraints, such as the size of this metal mount and the diameter and length of this gooseneck component, the size of the PCB, things like that. And the second thing is I want to change the battery to a bigger capacity. This is something I just had in my room. It's the same voltage, and this one happens to be, sorry for the bad camera work, and this one happens to be 7 times the capacity of the original battery over there. And the next thing is I have a thought of moving the power button to the other side of the PCB. So the LED indicator and the power button are on the same side. But yeah, I'm still thinking about it. Okay, welcome back. It is the next day, and here's the current state of the enclosure. There were 3 versions that came before this, and this is what I believe is going to be the final version of this project. So let me walk you through this. The first piece houses the battery, the PCB, the power button, and the gooseneck. And the second piece is the adapter for the collar. And the final piece, this little one, is the cover plate that hides most of the exposed wires. I'm probably not going to show the entire assembly process because it's going to be pretty long and I'm gonna be struggling quite a bit, but just to give you an idea of what it's going to look like in the end. So there, this is what it's going to look like in the end. I guess one of the things that stand out is how the wires leading to the power button are all exposed. And my thinking is I'm going to print a separate cover piece to A, hide the exposed wires, and B, make sure they're insulated and they don't move internally. And same idea on the other side. I'm going to apply the same treatment there. Probably print a small rectangle and glue it on. And the same thing goes for this battery door. Okay, with that out of the way, I'm going to start on the assembly process. Wish me luck. Okay, the project is all finished. I wish I was able to do an in-depth assembly portion of the video, but the parts were so small and it was really challenging to put it together, let alone record a video of it, so I was not able to do that. So what we see here is how it's going to look when it's in use. I put a little weight on one side just to prevent it from tipping over. But the base here goes around my neck and the microphone sticks out, and right here at the top, this area is where my mouth is going to be. This project ended up being the most delicate and the smallest project I've done to date.
and I've developed a lot of respect for people who design portable and compact devices. It really takes a lot of thinking. There are obviously things that could be improved. The power button, for example, was a complete afterthought in this iteration. Same thing goes for the battery door and things like that, including the screws that could be a little nicer looking as well. But in the end, with this being my first compact project, I think this is not a bad place to be. So I'll move on to other projects in the meantime, and in the future, I'm sure there will be another compact project coming my way. Thanks everyone for watching. I hope you found this video to be entertaining and hope you got something out of it as well. And I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.